So background, profile, what's your history? Not super long, high level, spark notes of career stuff.
All right, cool. So financial maths at university, jumped out of there, went into consulting. We did forensic analytics, some big flagship projects across Europe, flying around, lots of hours, but great work. Needle in haystack stuff, efficient algorithms to find things across banking and finding bad actors. That's how it kind of got going. And I went from there into like real data science, building algorithms for intelligence and recommendation systems in the travel and tourism industry. Kind of became a bit of a specialist with market dynamics, supply and demand across complex products, complex portfolios of products, different categories, different consumer types, demographics, and working that with the idea of market dynamics. And then eventually found InTune.
And going a little bit deeper, what makes you tick? What gets you excited? What's the like, James is fired up, so wake up in the morning and do this. What's it gonna be?
Winning a complex game.
Okay, winning a complex game.
Honestly, it's something that takes a bit of intuition, a bit of fire, and like some lateral thinking to really get something done.
Talking about the journey at InTune so far, you've been around for a few years. I was sharing the other day, we met via Upwork, like trying to message you sitting at the pool at my apartment building, trying to build this thing together that we weren't underqualified to do it, but we were under-resourced. I don't know what the word would be, like it was you and me trying to figure this out. But so journey, right? How's the journey been? Where you started, where you're at today? How's it feel? Any high-level notes?
Well, I mean, when I first got involved with you directly, I mean, InTune didn't exist much beyond you at the time. Obviously, there was data engineering who was going on to support, but in terms of like actors with their heads on the business value, it was you, and then me drafted in to support with how, like, effectively, how could we make your time more efficient to get the money ball?
Our entire data science department.
Right, and it was exciting in the early days, but it was like there wasn't much nuance to it. You know, we hadn't figured out exactly where this thing was going. It was like, can we position ourselves to regularly make good money, to be able to figure out where that would take us afterwards. And you know, that was project work. That was a lot of trial and error. Some rabbit holes that panned out, some that didn't. And then over time, we've formalized. We've managed to bring more people into the fold. We've got like serious departments now that like function very effectively on a I want to say week-to-week basis, but on a day-to-day basis. You know, we've got progress every day of the week, and evolving from that sort of effectively two brains position into what have we got? Like
30 plus.
Well, we're 30 plus, and every single one of them is contributing in a pretty significant way. So, you know, the size of the beast is different, the direction, the trajectory is different, and it feels great to have been a part, like to have seen that transition. So we've gone from something that's quite baseline, and like, can we establish a foothold in something, into like, well, I mean, we've got a vision to go some distance now.
Yep.
And that's been great. And it's also opened the door to be able to, like, in a technical sense, to go after some deeper problem solving on more specifics and getting a bit more space to, you know, build something more sophisticated.
Yeah. And also getting resources behind it, right?
And getting resources to go a distance with it.
You've got the vision. You had the vision from day one. You wanted to automate everything everywhere and say, okay, James, we're going to do that, you and me. Let's go. So what about personally, how you changed over the past 3 years and evolved?
So I think and a fair amount of what I'm going to say here is more relevant to maybe what is more likely the last 9 months.
Okay.
As we formalized traction, got that in, got the departments running as real departments, is I think I've probably evolved most in being able to understand that it's not just about me touching code and like producing code. Mm-hmm. And don't get me wrong, obviously we've always had the ideas, and you got that balance of idea down to functionality and getting something working, but the evolution for me is being able to utilize those resources, think bigger than what I can do with my hands, and think like, where does InTune need to go, and how can I use my brain to think across our 30 guys, our team of 30 plus, how can my brain most help? And it doesn't necessarily need to be my code to do it.
Yeah.
Which has taken me a bit out of being an individual contributor and more into like the strategy side of things, which is great. You know, given the space to do it, I think it's a great evolution for me.
And it doesn't even have to be your original idea, right? That's the other beautiful thing. And we talked about it on this trip. It's like, it might not be your code. It might not be your idea to begin with, but we're like this weird mix of ideas and execution coming together. It's like, you pick, it's like a relay almost. Like you pick up where someone drops off and then you hand a baton. It's
put it, take what you get, put it in the right place in the organization, see if you can amp it a little bit, prioritize, you know, all of that stuff.
Yep. And argue over what's priority, what's not, right?
Yeah.
And debate for what you want.
Everything I do is top priority.
Yeah, of course. And same with me, right? Switching gears a little bit. You've done consulting, you've worked for other small companies, you've done things yourself. What's something that every strong company has and that every strong leader has?
Every strong company and every strong leader recognizes the value of their people, down to the final member. I think if you lose that, if you don't see that, then I mean, even if you're being very cynical about it and you don't have a particularly well-oiled machine, but you know, being less cynical and just understanding that being a strong business is about people wanting to be there and contributing. And if you can't get
that, people wanting to be there, in your experience, and now this is just me learning. I'm not even.
Open dialogue about what they want to do and how much they can add, and then figuring out the seat for that person to do that. You know, what you initially hire someone for might not necessarily be where they're best suited to be.
Yeah.
And being able to understand as a business actually that, and this is where you go between your core values and who you are versus what you're doing, is like you might change what you're doing based on what people bring to the table, what opportunity can be identified. So having that flexibility to move seats and try and get the most out of your people, that's your firepower. That's how you go big.
But at your core, you might change what you're doing, but at your core, you're still who you are.
You're just saying
as an individual, as a team, like.
And that's what you're trying to hire for, really, right?
Amen. New Year's resolutions?
Continue to evolve into being like a wider team player.
Okay.
You know, I've focused quite a lot on technical, and there's been elements of collabing into non-technical stuff.
Yeah.
And I think now it's got to go even wider, and that's something that I've got to learn to gear change a little bit with. But I think it's in front of me, and I'm happy and excited to do it.
Anything outside of work?
Outside of work, health and fitness.
Win a paddle tournament?
Win a paddle tournament, maybe. I mean, at least, so at the moment, just gone up a ranking level.
Okay.
We're in the heat of like a new level of competition, right? And managed to land in the middle of the pack immediately. It would be great this year to get into the next level, but that is crazy.
So next level paddle, are we committing?
Next level paddle, committed.
And then last question, if you could create one rule that everyone in the world had to follow, what would it be?
Can I
bow down to James?
No. Can I wax lyrical about this?
Go ahead.
Spitfire. You want more words?
What does that mean?
Well, I mean, you know, we're in this amazing universe. All of this is here in front of us. We owe our lives and our existence to this huge ball of fire, many billions of times our size, that heats us. Stare back at it and spit fire back. Go do something. Like, be real, use your energy, and make it yours. Impact the world.
So the rule for the world is show up and execute, or show up and put feeling back out there, like do something.
Ideate and execute.
Yeah.
Go and do something, build something.